Yep.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
People got it.
Yay.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this special live discussion with my friend Petra Kolber. A couple of housekeeping things. Only Petra and I will be talking on the Zoom call. Please post any questions you have in the comments. And we may not be able to do any technical troubleshooting right now, but everything will be recorded and I will post the recording later, the link to the recording. Now, I'm really thankful and happy to introduce Petra Kolber. I first met her at a fitness conference in Atlanta when I was 25. She has been someone who has inspired me from the moment I saw her first presentation. I know she has a lot to tell you, so without further ado, I'll turn it over to Petra.
Well, first of all, guys, thank you so much. Like, this is what just happened is exactly what I'm going to talk about. Because I don't know about you, so many of us think, I've got my life figured out, I'm going to do everything perfectly, and then life is what happens to us when we're busy making plans. So first of all, I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. And we will leave time at the end for any questions. And again, afterwards, Kelly's going to post this into your Facebook group. And if something comes up for you afterwards, you go, oh, I forgot to ask this, pop it in the chat and I'll make sure I get to it. So first of all, thank you for the gift of your time. I can only imagine how many Zoom calls you've been in over the past year. So I'm going to make it brief, to the point, and hopefully something that will help you guys along the way. You are in great hands with Kelly. We've known each other through the fitness industry for so many years, and it's just an absolute honor and privilege to be here with you. And all I want to do is maybe give you some things that have worked for me in my life that can possibly help and work for you in your life. So I'm just going to put in the chat real quickly. If you could mute yourself as you come in would be great, but not a big deal. Mute as you come in. I thrive in this. It's like multitasking. All right, so what I'm going to do is share my screen, because that keeps me on point, because I could talk to you guys all day, but you have lives to live. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'll come out of sharing my screen to see if there's any questions. Share my screen, come out, see if there's any questions. If you have any questions in the meantime, please put them in the chat. I'll make sure that I get to them, because we come into life with ideas, but ideas are only actionable if they relate to your life and your dreams. So let me share my screen. Here we go. Let me see. Here, move this around a bit. So this is one of my favorite quotes by Marianne Williamson, and I want you to take a moment of pause and really listen to this right now. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, handsome, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? I grew up in a small town in the UK, and we were not taught how to be fabulous. We were not taught to be magnificent. We were not taught how to, let me just do this real quick, get out of the chat. Okay, one sec. Kelly, can you see the chat file right now, or you just see the slide?
I just see the slide.
Oh, fantastic. All right, great. So for me, no one taught me how to be brilliant. No one taught me how to be magnificent. Let me just get rid of this real quick. I'm trying to move that so I can get this out. There you go, perfect. And that's what I want to do today. I love that. You can see I love quotes. My second favorite quote is by Mark Twain. The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you found out why. And Kelly is helping you strengthen your body, strengthen your nutrition, strengthen the insides. And for many years, I focused on the body. And we talk a lot about mind-body connection. Here's the thing, we cannot separate the mind and the body. For many years, I thought it was the body that drove my well-being. The thing I'm fascinated right now is what happens between the ears. Thoughts become things. And what I want to talk to you today is about the power of your thoughts. the power of your belief. It's not whether you can or whether you can't. It's whether you think you can or whether you think you can't. It's whether you think you're going to be successful or you think you're going to be not successful. What you believe to be true is the truth. So that is what we're going to happen. And again, if you could ask you a favor, if you could just mute yourself, it would be great as you're coming into the room. Thank you so much. So what I want to do is start right now and think about something. We're often so busy being human doings, we forget to be human beings. I want you to imagine your life a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. Everything had gone well. You had shown up for your workouts. You had shown up for your nutrition. You had shown up for yourself. You had taken the biggest risk of all, and that was betting on yourself. Because here's the thing, no one can do the hard work, or what I call the heart work. The longest distance you or I will ever travel is from our head to our heart. And so that's the work, that's the invitation I want to give to you today during our time together. So think about your best possible future, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. Everything had gone well. And I'm going to ask you these 4 questions. And you can watch this and repeat when Kelly posts this into your Facebook group. You're probably not going to think of them right now. You're going to hear of these again towards the end of our time together. 4 questions. Everything had gone well. The universe had transpired in your favor. Nothing had gotten in your way. No self-doubt. You've gotten your courage. You had shown up for yourself. 4 questions. Where would you be? Who would you be with? What would you be doing? And most importantly, how would you feel? A year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, where will you be? Who will you be with? What will you be doing? And how do you want to feel? That is the key. Many times people go, I don't know what my goals are. I don't know what my dreams are. I don't know what my beliefs are. Because what happens is our brain, our logical thinking brain, gets in the way of our imagination. And so I'm going to invite you for the next 30 minutes, max, to step into your imagination, to step into possibility, to step into yes, I can versus, oh, I'm not quite ready yet. One last quote, I promise. Well, I don't promise because I could be wrong. What is it you want to do with your one wild? You only get one. We get one go around of this in this body with your one wild and precious life. And Kelly is helping you make this thing, our body, which is simply our vehicle, to move you into a life of your dreams. She's fine-tuning your vehicle. But the thing Kelly can't do for you, she can give you the tools and the strategies and what's worked for her, but the only person that can shorten the distance from our head to our heart is who? It's you. That's the work we're going to do today. So I call it heart work, and it's based on science. It's the science of neuroplasticity, meaning our brain, it's not new research now, but it's newer research that has proved to us until the day we die, unless we have a degenerative disease of the brain, you have the power in your hands and in your thoughts to change your brain's capacity, to stretch it, to keep learning regardless of your age. And it's based on the science of positive psychology. Psychology in the past, maybe you have, maybe I have, maybe I haven't been to a therapist or 2 or 3. And when I used to go to a therapist, or a friend of mine used to go to a therapist, I can tell you the first thing they would ask me is like, what's wrong? What needs to be fixed? And so we were placing our focus on all the gaps, all that we thought was broken. And now the science of positive psychology says, if I went to a positive psychologist, she would say, or he would say, so Petra, tell me what is going well in your life? Where do you thrive? Where do you feel powerful? And I'd probably go, why are they asking me about what's working? I'm here to work on what needs to be fixed. But when you and I and we work our goals and our dreams and our values from all that we are versus the gaps of all that we think we're not, that's when the magic happens. And it's not that it's not going to be work. It's going to be hard work. but it's going to be fueled by hope and possibility versus doubt, fear, and dread. So there's an acronym for the 5 pillars of positive psychology. It is P, positive emotion. How can you create more positive emotion in your life? E, engagement. How can you be more engaged in your life? R, relationships. How can you strengthen and sweeten the relationships in your life? The ones you have with others, the ones that you have with Kelly in this group, and maybe most importantly, the one you have with yourself. M, meaning and purpose. What gets you feeling alive? What are your hopes? What is your big or your small why? And A, accomplishments. When do you feel pride? Because that is a powerful emotion. We're going to talk about that in a little moment. I'm going to ask one quick thing, and then I'm going to come out of screen share and see if there are any questions, and then we'll continue. So this is going to be the hardest thing you do this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are. This is a slide I'm going to put up in a moment. And what I'm going to do is ask you to put in the chat the number. I'm going to put up a slide. I'll hold it up there for like 30 seconds. And I want you to count how many shapes you see on the screen and then put them in the chat if you'd be so kind. Here we go. Give me 30 seconds. I'll grab some water. How many shapes do you see on the screen? Throw them into the chat. Please. Sound very bossy. Please put them into the chat. Let me open up the chat, see if I can see. $16, yep. Kelly, Lacey, 15. 17 says Donna. Diane, 9, 7, 16, yeah. Perfect, perfect. These are all numbers that I see a lot. 16, 7, 8. And then if I said to you, I have no idea. I was doing a keynote last year and someone said 60. I was like, how they counted 60? But I said, no idea. And now please put this in the chat if you would. But now if I asked you how many children were on the bus and what time was on the clock? Let me see, I'm gonna open up chat again. How many kids on the bus and what time on the clock? If you're like me, I'm like, what bus and what clock? Okay, let me close this down and let me show you. 0 kids on the bus, 8:20 on the clock. Now, here's the thing. Your direction, your focus, what was it directed by? The question I asked you. And now as we tip almost over into May, we've already had 100+ days in 2021. Where is your focus? Our focus is directed by our thoughts. Our thoughts are directed by the questions we ask ourselves. And I'm going to ask you to consider what are a few questions that you ask yourself or ask of life each and every day. Now, I love this. Watch your thoughts that are created by your questions. Watch your thoughts because they become your words to others and to yourself. Watch your words because they create your actions. Watch your actions because they build your habits. Watch your habits because they create your character, and your character moves you into your destiny. Everything begins with a thought. So I want you to think about right now, where is your focus? What are the things that you celebrate about yourself? Because this is not always easy. And I don't want you to think that you're the only one. Our brain is made up to focus on what could hurt us. It's called the negativity bias. And I didn't know this for many years. And I couldn't figure out why I teach this stuff. I teach happiness. I teach aliveness. I teach going for my dreams. Why is it so hard for me? You know, I've done all the studies because there's a thing called the negativity bias. Okay, negativity sticks to us like Velcro. Positivity slides off us like Teflon, because it's nothing wrong with you. But think about our ancestors, when they went out into the world, they didn't have to focus on the things that weren't going to hurt them. They had to focus on the things that could kill them. So the part of our brain that served us very well thousands of years ago now oversteps its boundaries. So think about in your life, Where does negativity, where does fear overstep its boundaries? Now, I'm not saying that it's never going to show up for you, but where does it overstep its boundaries? And then with a light touch, we look at that and see how can we reframe that. And I'm going to give you some tools to do that. Think about last week, or think about when someone maybe says something a little negative, or you get off an email or a text or social media, for goodness sakes, and maybe we perceive something as a little negative. It really stings, doesn't it? Please tell me I'm not the only one. And then think about the last time someone paid you a compliment. I love that top. I am so proud. Oh my gosh, you're stepping up. When Kelly pays you a compliment, do you allow yourself to sit in that and savor? Or do you simply just brush it off? Let's reverse that and let's make the good stick. And let's begin to brush off that negativity, because those negative thoughts fuel your words, your actions, your habits, your character, your destiny. So we're going to put our focus on the present, because that's where the magic happens. And then from a powerful place of all that's working for you in the present, we shift our focus to the future. Here's the thing that I'm sure Kelly, or I'd imagine Kelly's spoken about. In your fitness program, in your nutrition program, in your life, hopes and dreams program, success is really this. I say this work is interval training for your dreams. Because when you do the hard work and the hard work of strengthening your thoughts, flexing your idea of what's possible, giving your dreams a workout, we need to ride the ups and downs of life. Because I don't know about you, my life has never been like this. Just like this today, like Kelly and I, we'd practice getting on Zoom. We practice it. Things are going to happen. They're not going to, I don't even say they're going wrong, but they're not going according to the plan that we have. So this work is going to help you ride the ups and downs of life, the interval training for your dreams, because we all have dreams. And it's not whether you're going to be successful. It absolutely is. It's going to be, what are you going to do when things are not going as you had planned? Because something's going to come up, unless you're extremely lucky to skate through life without hurt and grief and the unexpected. And even then, to never fail means that we really probably haven't stretched ourselves enough. So I'm going to say fail fast. I always say failure is just data in the disasters. Even failure, what do you mean by that? So let's get on with it. So you live who you believe you are. And here's the thing about the belief in who we are. We don't marvel in ourselves. I'm here to help you marvel in yourself. People travel to wander at the height of the mountains, at the huge waves of the seas, at the long course of the rivers, at the vast compass of the ocean, at the circular motion of the stars, and yet they pass by themselves without wandering. How many times do we walk past a mirror and go, damn, I showed up for my life today. I bet on myself, without judging ourselves or focusing on what went wrong or what we could have done better or whatever. I want you to start marveling about yourself. Start wandering and reveling in the magic of you. This is not about changing who you are. This is about becoming more of who you are. And the work that you do with Kelly, she is here to help and guide you. But when Kelly leaves you, who are we left with? Us. So we're the ones that have to show up for ourselves. And so what I want to help you to do today is maybe take a couple of steps that could help you do the hard work and the hard work of strengthening our brain and our thoughts. Fear is not a bad thing. The trouble is fear can overstep its boundaries. So again, I invite you to consider right now, just reflect, whether you're watching live or on the replay, is there an area in your life where fear oversteps its boundaries? Because fear, false fear, will stop our dreams. It will dampen our dreams. It will stop us. It'll prevent us from putting our declaring the life that we want to live out there in the world, because maybe you're afraid of being judged. Maybe you're afraid of it not working out perfectly. What is the thought that sits under that feeling of fear? Because an emotion cannot happen without a thought. Now, there's very real fear. If you have kids that are about to step off onto the sidewalk in front of a busy street, you better feel afraid. If you're walking late at night in the parking lot and you kind of sense that steps close to you, a little bit too close, you're going to feel afraid, real fear. Because that could hurt you. It probably isn't going to, but it could. And now think about the fear of being judged, the fear of not being liked, the fear of people saying something not so kind about us. That's a false fear. And for many years, guys, I can talk about this because I lived this life. I was terrified. I was a people pleaser. I loved bending over backwards so people would like Petra. And the older I have become, not that I don't care, I care deeply about everybody I cross and everyone's path who comes my way. However, I don't care what they think about me. It's none of my business. What's that bumper sticker? What you think of me is none of my business. So easy to say, so hard to live. So let's see how we can reframe this thing called fear. I love the acronym FEAR. Let me pop it right back up. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise.
It's already 3 o'clock.
You get to choose. Okay, let me just see who's off, not on mute. Again, if you're coming in, if you'd be so kind to mute, that'd be great. Okay, so again, fear, forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. It's a choice. It's not necessarily an easy choice, but it's a choice we get to make moment by moment, breath by breath. Every thought we get, do we lean into that thought, or do we choose to say, yeah, I know fear, you're just trying to keep me safe, but you don't serve me any longer. You've overstepped your boundaries. And then I heard this the other day, FAIL. What does failure mean to me? I love this idea, FAIL, first attempts in learning. If you don't fail, you haven't stretched. You know, if we're not failing, I don't believe in failing our way forward, but I do believe there's a lot of lessons that come through things not going out perfectly. I wrote a book, The Perfection Detox. You don't learn when things are going perfect. Perfect is not a teacher. It's a nice place to be every so often, but it doesn't teach us much. So to take any of this work, we need to think of this thing called confidence, the confidence to believe in ourselves, the confidence to bet on ourselves. I teach a lot about confidence, but we never break it down. Now, the opposite of confidence is actually action. The opposite of fear, or like a lack of confidence, is action. The opposite of fear is not confidence, it's action. So what is confidence? It's a feeling or belief that we can rely on someone or something. A feeling of self-assurance arising from our own appreciation of our own abilities or qualities. So what can you be confident about right now? I want you to sit in that right now. What are you confident about right now? What do you know, as Oprah would say, what do you know for sure? I'm going to give you a quick little overview of what confidence is and what it isn't. And then we're going to look at 3 small little questions that you can use anytime, any day, any moment to remind yourself of just how magnificent you are. Because the world needs you, your family needs you, your work needs you. Your dreams are required. They're not maybe not your dreams. What if your dream was actually given to you? It's a calling. The world needs you now more than ever. So what is confidence? Well, here's where we often get hung up. We look at confidence as where we are and where we want to be. So we look at it as a gap of who we are not yet. This is the trap. We often think, oh, I'm going to get more confidence. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to overcome my fear. I'm going to get more confidence and I'm going to change who I am. That just sets us up for failure on so many lessons, on so many ways. Here is where we begin to nurture our confidence. We don't get over our fear. It's trying to teach us something. We understand what is it that I'm afraid of. And then with that knowledge, we take action. And here's the hard bit. Most of that action requires you to become more of who you are. Now, confidence is a choice. There are people that are born with more confidence, but it's a skill that can be acquired. It's not a symptom. So here's what I want you to think about. And this is the only slide, guys. I wish I could write differently, but it just is. The actions of confidence come first. The feelings of confidence comes later. And that's where we get stuck. We can say, oh, when I feel like I've got this, I'm going to start doing it. When I think I'm ready, I'm going to start doing it. And what happens? We never start, because confidence doesn't start first. You have to do it, believe it, and then it will come. Feelings are not facts. So it's saying yes and believing it to be true, and then you meet yourself there. Competence creates confidence. Action creates steps to your dreams. So the thing we have to get over, and the thing I'm going to encourage you to do, this is where that saying, do it scared, comes from. Do it not feeling ready, because you will never feel ready. The way you become more ready is to take action, small steps. So think about right now, what is one small, not a massive step, what is one small thing you could do right now to feel more confident? And a part of that is just remembering all that you are, all the strengths you bring into every situation, all the things you have gotten through in your past, because that is what who you are is the secret sauce. We're so busy looking for the next secret, the next best thing. Here's the thing. You are the secret. You are the next best thing. But until we bet on ourselves, we're never going to believe it. So here is the confidence circle. Think of that one small step. So think about this right now. This is your bit of hard work. Whether you're listening live or on the replay, think about one area of your life that you would like to feel more confident in. There's not every single area. Just pick, and if you've got a couple of areas, pick the easiest. And it could be technology, it could be dating, it could be your workouts, whatever. And then whatever that is, pick one thing. And then pick one small step that you're not ready for it yet, but you're ready to put into action. One small step. And then what you're going to do, you're going to not wait to feel confident to take that step. You're going to take the step. Just stop thinking about it and do it. It's not, as like you just said, just do it. So easy to say, right? Especially when you're making billions of dollars, but just do it. Now, here's the thing. What happens is we just do it, and many times it might not go as we had planned, so we consider that first step a failure and we give up. Oh no, my friend. I'm going to ask you now to take that and assess, how did that step go? Maybe it went great. Check. You're going to do it again and accompany it with another step. Maybe it just went okay, but you weren't thrilled with the outcome. So you're not going to throw all that data away. Remember, there's data in the disasters and there's research in the rejection. You're going to, from a lens of self-compassion, not judgment, you're going to go, oh, that's interesting. Which piece worked well? Oh, well, 90% of it worked well. You'll bring that next 90% into the next iteration. Maybe 5% needs to be tweaked a little bit. I'm going to kind of modify that a little bit and bring that over. And then maybe 5% really didn't go, oh, that wasn't a great choice. I'll leave that in the past. And then you modify and you start all over again. Confidence is not a straight line. It's a circle. Confidence is not a destination. It is simply a place to practice. Practice your dreams. Practice living. So if we think of confidence as a straight line and we get off the straight line, we feel like we failed. But if we know we get another chance to do that circle and improve of what needs to be improved on, celebrate what worked well, and adapt what needs to be tweaked, that's how you build your confidence. So with that, it all starts with you. So on those days when you don't have Kelly or, someone in your back pocket, how can you remember that you are the agent of change? You are the person who the world needs. I'm going to give you 3 little questions, so powerful questions. Remember at the very beginning when I showed you that slide, the power of the questions you ask? I'm going to give you 3 high-powered questions that you can use anytime, anywhere, to remember that you always have what you need inside of you. Question number 1. First question. Now, again, you might not get to this right now on this phone call, but I want you to revisit these. I want you to really think about them. And I'd actually like you to write the answers down. Maybe you can share them with Kelly in your next meetup or whenever Kelly has time. First question, what is something in your past that you feel proud of? It could be joining Kelly's group. It could be showing up for your workouts. You should feel proud of that. It could be your fitness success, your nutrition success. It could be someone you finally got the courage to ask out on a date. It could be going for a job promotion. It could be taking a trip. It could be anything. It could be getting over an illness. It could be helping a friend. It could be doing your first 5K. It could be anything. But what is something you feel proud of? And why is this a question we're asking ourselves? Because again, I'm British. Pride was frowned upon. But pride is a positive emotion when it's not attached to ego. Egoic pride is a problem. But pride is a really powerful emotion because we feel pride when we've pushed ourselves, when we've challenged ourselves. Now, if you have gone through a hard time or a challenging time, what this proves to you and shows to you is you've done hard before, you can do hard again. You've been on your knees in the past, you can get up and do it again. You've pushed yourself in the past, you can push yourself again. Might not be in the same actually right wheelhouse, could be something different, but it reminds you. You already have everything you need inside of you. And then in the spare time that you have, I'm going to invite you to go to this website, viacharacter.org, Virtues in Action, Values in Action. This is free. Don't do the paid one. You don't need that. And they also have a version for youth. So if you have a teenager that just is comparing themselves on social media, feels not enough, do this with your kids. viacharacter.org. And what it is, it's a multiple choice assessment. There's no essays. It takes about 20 minutes. And then from that, millions of people have taken this around the world. You're going to get a list of your character strengths. We all have them. We all have 24. They can never be taken from you. They can only be amplified. And then I'm going to ask you to take your top 5 character strengths and write them down on an index card, several index cards. Put them in your gym bag, put them on your computer, put them in your car, put them wherever you can see them, your top 5. These were my top 5 about 6 months ago. They often change order. So I encourage you, even if you've done this in the past, do it again. And why is this important? Because the next time you go through a hard time, you're going to look at this index card and go, one of these 5 are going to help you through that challenging time. Not all of them are going to be appropriate, but it simply is a reminder that you already have whatever you need inside of you. Second high power question. What is something in my present that excites me? What is something in my present that excites me? Why is this important? Because we feel excitement or we feel engaged when we're in this thing called flow. Flow state is what you probably feel when you're working out with Kelly. Unless she's doing a million burpees. By the 700th birthday, you're probably out of flow. But when you're working out, you get that adrenaline rush. I feel flow when I'm in nature. I was so blessed. I'm traveling right now, writing my 2nd book. And just 2 days ago, I was in the white sands of New Mexico. Mind-blowing, like awe-inspiring, like something I've never seen before, like miles and miles of this crystal white, beautiful, soft sand. I was in flow for 5 hours with my camera, with my GoPro. And what is flow? You heard these 4 questions right at the beginning. Flow is when time disappears. Think about the last time that time disappeared for you. Because what happens is when time disappears, you know what else disappears? Our worries and our anxieties and our doubts and our judgments, all of the negativity disappears too. And what flow gives you, it actually gives you a place to rest your brain. Your brain is working so hard. Flow is active recovery for your brain. Just as Kelly and Sal tells you how important recovery is, we also need to turn this off now and then. It never stops. No wonder we're tired. So think about the last time you felt time disappear. You heard these questions before. I'll repeat them again. The last time time disappeared, where were you? Who were you with? What were you doing? How did you feel? And then whenever time disappeared, whatever you can pinpoint that, do more of that in your present. So high power question number one, what is something you're proud of? High power question number two, what is something that excites you, that makes you feel fully engaged? High power question number three, what is something in your future, a year, 3 years, 5 years from now, that you are looking forward to? Why is that important? Because that shifts you from saying, I have to do this, to I get to do this. There's a lot of studies around the world where people live the longest and thrive. They're not just surviving and getting older, but they're thriving. And it's called the blue zones, and the commonalities are 9. And one of the strongest things that allow people to age well and thrive as they get older is a sense of meaning and purpose, and being able to describe it to others. So what I'm going to invite you to consider when you have some time are those 3 questions. What is something in your past that you are proud of? What are things that energize you and excite you in the present? And what is something you're looking forward to? And when you pull from the strengths of your past with what gives you meaning and purpose in the moment and what you are looking forward to in the future, that's when you create your magic. That's when you show up for life. That's when you bet up for yourself. That's when you show up for yourself in the good days and when life is busy kicking us to the curb and just like challenging us, because life knows when you're ready for a bigger challenge. So be careful what you wish for. So here's the other thing I want you to think about before we leave each other right now. Make room for good things to enter. We're often so busy just doing and creating and striving. And this past year, if it's taught us nothing, it's that we have no idea what tomorrow's going to bring. So why not make room for some good things to enter? And when your heart speaks, listen. You know those yearnings, those taps on your shoulder, or that thing in your heart when you start daydreaming and you're like, oh yeah, but I'll get to that when I have time. Oh, I'll get to that when I have more confidence. Oh, I'll start doing that when I feel ready. Don't wait. Don't wait. Say yes. Say yes, and then Kelly will help you figure out the rest. Say yes, and then get ready for your yes. If we wait till we feel ready for our dreams, our hopes, our big why, we will never feel ready. But when you say yes, and then you do the heart work of getting ready for your yes, you will remember that your deepest fear is not that you are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, handsome, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? And here, my friend, is my big why. My big why is that you, with alongside Kelly and everyone I meet, that you live a life of your dreams versus you leave this life with regret. No regrets. There's no such thing as failure. There is such thing as not trying, as not showing up, as not betting on yourself. And then I just want to say right now, I am so grateful for you. You don't know me, for saying yes to saying, okay, Kelly, you got this gal coming in. I'll come and listen. I'm so grateful to you for being here. I'm so grateful for Kelly to invite me. And then I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. But one thing I'm going to invite you to do after our time here, or whether you're watching on the replay, I'm going to invite you to actually pick up this thing and send a gratitude text to someone. Maybe it's to Kelly, I don't know. Send a gratitude text to someone in your life and just say, I am so grateful. And then be specific. Be specific. Why are you grateful to them? Thank you for being here for me. Thank you for being such a good friend. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for holding my heart during this, whatever it is. Because gratitude is the heart's ability to remember. And gratitude is just like jam. You can't spread it without getting some on yourself. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Kelly and see if any of you have any questions. Kelly, you go. And then if anyone else has a question, they could raise their hand and mute themselves. So I'm going to hand it over to you now, and I'll be quiet.
All right. Thank you, Petra. That was fabulous. I appreciate all that you said so much. I was trying to take notes because I realized that I may not get back to the recording very soon, and I wanted to be able to quickly look at a few things that stood out to me. So I wrote some notes. So I do have a couple of questions, unless someone wants to go first.
Well, there's one. Donna says, what is the character test website? I'm going to put it in right now. And I don't even like that word test, Donna, because that means, character assessment. There's no pass or fail here. So it's VIA character.org. There you go. VIA. Oh, that's just a direct message. So we send that to everybody so that everyone has that. Everyone. We just do this one more time. VIA character.org. There you go. Okay, perfect. That's one I saw. So Carrie, I think you got the floor.
Okay, so someone asked me that they were interested in knowing what you think of meditation and if you do a meditation practice regularly, or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, listen, I think meditation is one of the most powerful things we can do right now. What I say and what I do are two different things. There's nothing more powerful for your future, your focus, your ability to tune out the noise than meditation. I have a great timer. It's called Insight Timer. I use that. My goal would be to be meditating 10 to 15 minutes every morning. Do I? Not as much as I should. However, what I also believe meditation in motion. So when I'm out in nature, I am in flow. I'm in movement. I'm not worrying about the past, the future. I'm in the moment. So that to me is also movement in meditation in movement. Do I believe in it? Yes. Do I do it as much as I should? Not yet. But I think also another thing I've read is, our brain's capacity to stay deeply focused is getting diminished and smaller and smaller and smaller. So meditation helps us with one of our superpowers that if we're not careful, we will lose it, because we're such an ADD, pull, shiny, sparkly, world that we live in, and our ability to focus deeply for moments of time is really getting smaller and smaller. So meditation helps. It helps stimulate the learning part of our brain. It helps regulate our mood. It helps us sleep better. It helps us just be nicer people. So yeah, yes to meditation. And I now need to go and actually follow up on that advice.
Right. So, thinking about the flow state, meditation is the flow state, right? It's a similar thing. It's a similar
but
idea.
Different. Yeah, similar but different. Because meditation actually stimulates different parts of the brain, whereas in flow state. But yes, I mean, yeah, if you can get into flow, that to me is as close to meditation as we can get without being in a meditative state. Yeah. Any other questions, Kelly?
So what is your mantra word for this year, and what was it last year?
Oh gosh. Well,
do you have a mantra word?
No, I do like the word you have words right for the year. I do like that. Because I don't do resolutions anymore. I think that's just like 2020, I can't even remember what it was because it was such a crazy time. This year to me is really more about living the possibility. Living the possibility, saying yes and versus worrying about what people think about me. So it's really living in possibility for others. So I think my word for this year will be possibility. And then I heard a word yesterday that I really liked on a podcast, aliveness. Not happiness, aliveness. So I think that's going to be my new word, aliveness. Yeah.
That sounds good. What was the podcast?
Oh, it was the Brooke Castillo. She
Okay.
does the life school podcast. She's pretty smart.
Does anyone else have a question? Please.
Feel free to unmute yourself or write it in the chat or no. Diane, you unmuted yourself?
Yes, I have a question for you. So oftentimes the reflections of how your life is going are either first thing when you wake up in the morning where you need to find the courage, or the last thing you're thinking through at night when you're doing the inventory. Do you have morning routines or evening routines? And could you share what those are with us?
Oh, Diane, such a good question. Yes. And again, what I say and what I do might be a little different, but one of the greatest things we can do in the morning, because you know the power of gratitude. At the end, gratitude journals, reflecting on all that went well, what we're grateful for. But there's also more work out by Michael, what's his name? Lost me right now. But the power of appreciation and anticipation. So something that I try to do every morning before I get out of bed, this is work by Martin Seligman, the power of, it's like when you buy a car. It's like I bought a white Mini, was the last car that I owned. I don't own a car right now, but before I bought a white Mini, I never noticed white Minis. The minute you buy a car, don't you notice the same car on the street? It's like, oh, there's my car, because your brain is called reticular activation. Do I sound smart or what? Your brain likes to attract more of the same. So first thing in the morning, what I'm inviting you all to do is think of 1 to 2 to 3 things you are looking forward to that day. Could be a cup of coffee, always on my list. Could be a sunrise, could be a conversation with a friend, could be anything. But what it does, before you get out of bed, instead of looking at this, which right away, think like this, we often use our alarm clock, our phone is our alarm clock. So then we turn off our phone and then right away we have a choice. Do I go onto Facebook? Do I go into my emails? So when I lived in New York, I actually got rid of my phone as an alarm clock and I bought a real alarm clock. What a thing. So what happens is before you touch your phone is think of 3 things you're looking forward to that day and mix them up. Don't just say the same 3 things. And then here's the thing that everybody says that I try and do. And sometimes I do. The first hour of your day is the most important. Do not be on email. Do not be on social. Do not be on anything electronic. Your brain is the most powerful, pliable, at its greatest capacity to learn and dream and be and live those first hour of the day. So off technology. And then one thing that has helped me is pick one morning routine and turn it into a ritual, Diane. This is something I do. It could be making the bed. It could be having a shower. For me, it's making a cup of coffee. And it's not just making the bed or making a cup of coffee or having a shower. It's be all there. Wherever your feet are planted, be all there. When you're making the bed, make the bed. When you're making the coffee, smell the coffee. Listen to the water going into the coffee filter, whatever it is that you do. And then because what happens is it lets us notice first thing in the morning, like it's just how not there we are. We make coffee and we're doing a million other things. So that's what I do. And then at the end of the day, it's like a little intermission before you put your head on the pillow. Again, thinking about something you're grateful for versus that inventory. You got the inventory, check, done that. And then next thing, what is one thing that I'm so grateful for today? And then just really take a deep breath in and hold that in. And that's your little intermission before you put your head on the pillow. Great question, Diane.
Thank you.
All right, Kelly, we're almost on the hour. So.
All right. So thank you, Petra. If anybody else has any questions, you can, of course, I'll post the video and you can post a question back to me and I can send questions to Petra. I have a direct
There's a back
I can-
line.
I do. I have a direct line. So we'll let Petra go, and I'll let you guys go and enjoy your Friday. But I appreciate so much that you all showed up. Seriously. You mean
Thank you
that
guys
means
so
more.
much for jumping over. Yeah.
Yes, and sorry for the technical difficulties. We literally thought that the Facebook my husband and I, we practiced it yesterday. It worked yesterday. It just did not work today.
That's life. It was the lesson that we needed to learn to anchor ourselves in this moment. Perfect
I was
lesson.
sweating. I was sweating, like dripping sweat.
And I used to sweat that stuff. And I'm like, it's good. It happens to all of us, right? It's just like, this is life. This is the ups and downs. So yeah.
That's
So
right.
Kelly, thank you for having me. Thank you guys for allowing me into your home. Have a beautiful Friday and a great weekend.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Bye.